I gotta start the recording here, and I gotta start the recording on Craig this time. And this time we know. This time we have the easy. We have the easy commands. I've learned how to do it easily this time.
Yay.
So hopefully with me recording my audio on the side like this, it won't bug out as much.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Cool. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Infallible, Season 2, Episode 1. We've finally accomplished the impossible, what Unproblematic could only dream of, and we've finally reached the second season. And today we're talking once again about LGBTQ, and we're focusing particularly on transgenderism, because that, in my opinion, is the most interesting section out of all of the LGBTQ stuff. And as usual, I'm joined by my co-founder, Sohna.
Hello.
And Sarah Braj, our music man. He doesn't want to say anything.
He's muted currently.
Muted. He's here right now. That's all that matters. So season 2, episode 1. We've taken some feedback and we've decided to scrap Knitbag News for the new season because people don't like it because it gets outdated and it takes away from the topic. But I do want to have something in the intro so it feels more like a podcast and not just like a debate thing. I want it to feel more podcasty. And for now, just for this one, I want to ask you both. How do you feel? We finally reached the season 2.
The podcast doesn't really concern me right now because our exams are coming up soon, and
yeah, that is
basically the country's decided that having an examination like this will decide everyone's future. So yeah, fair.
Hi there, it's Future Ibrahim, and I'm interrupting this here podcast to tell you that this episode is pretty outdated by now. We recorded this before our exams. It doesn't matter because we don't do Knitbag News anymore, so like all the information is timeless, so it doesn't matter anymore. But that's why when we talk about our exams, all of them are done by now. Everything is done. But when we uploaded season finale, they were done since then, so this is just before then, and you can tell from our voices how stressed we were back then. So it was pretty bad. But this was like the last thing we recorded, and this is where we took our hiatus for good, for the entirety of the exam period, and now we're trying to get back into it. So that's a little bit of context about the exams. This is probably the last recording we're going to do for quite some time.
Yeah.
So 41 days left until my exam. We both have psychology, so 41 days.
Mine is 33 for economics.
Really? Econs first?
Yeah,
oh my
Econ's
God.
The first exam.
Oh dear, oh God, best of luck, man, honestly.
I'm gonna die.
To tell you the complete truth about it, I've been revising non-stop in these holidays, like putting bare revision in.
How much?
And I still feel clueless.
How much a day?
Like 4 hours, 5 hours, and I still feel clueless.
Well, yeah, I've been doing around the same amount every day, but...
Yeah, but you did mad revision, like, in school days. Like, in school days, I'm only able to do, like, 2 or 3.
Yeah, same. Like, if it's a full school day, I'll do 3. But...
Yeah, but I'm very inconsistent, is the problem. I'm really inconsistent. Like, sometimes, I'll say I do 2 or 3, and then sometimes I'll do 1.5. But anyway, I was going to ask Salad, but he's clearly offline, so...
I'm horrified, actually.
I am terrified too.
It's come too quick. They don't give us enough time, They don't give us enough time.
Yeah, I've always wanted. I've always said I want just like a few more months. That's all I want, but we can't have it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the sad thing is, at the same time, we have to look for. Some people want summer jobs, and you have to do that early. We have to do the student finance thing. We have to firm our choices. All that shit during the exam months is like, why?
Yeah, I know. It's a lot.
It's pretty bad, yeah. But yeah, that being said, at least hopefully this will be able to take your mind off it for a little bit, maybe.
All right, so let's jump.
But anyway, yeah, let's jump right in. Today we're talking about transgenderism, and I just want to clarify, just because we did this last week, and well, not last week. It was episode 11, and we started transgenderism, but we didn't fully get into it. I think we'll do what we did with religion. I want us to all say what our opinions are first about transgenderism. So who wants to go first?
How about you go?
Me?
Yeah.
Alright, my opinion on transgenderism is do what you want. If you want to identify as whatever, I don't really care. but I really don't think you should enforce that on anyone else. Like if I say the wrong pronouns, I don't think that should be that big of a deal. Because I honestly think the entire idea of transgenderism is really confusing for reasons I'll get into. And I just honestly, it just doesn't make sense to me. There's logical issues with it as well, and all that stuff. So I feel like do what you want. It's a free place. You can do what you want, but don't hold others to those standards. All right, who's next?
Um,
You want to go, Sona?
I don't really have any strong opinions in one way or the other. Like,
Oh, okay.
because it kind of balances out. Some things I like really, really strongly agree with, like the right to be who you want to be, right?
Yeah.
But then other things that I completely disagree with, which I assume we're gonna get into later on. So,
Oh yeah, we'll start with that.
I think like it kind of balances out, and I'm in the middle of it, really, sort of.
Oh, okay. So you're just like unsure, or you just like
N-
don't care?
I don't really care.
Right. All right, Salad. Is he still offline? Is he still?
I'm here.
Oh, he's here. Salad, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
What's your opinion?
I don't know,
You don't know.
honestly.
All right, calm. I'm gonna remember that at the end of this podcast. I'm gonna ask you lot what if that changed at all.
All right.
All right, cool. So first things first. I guess since I have the most to say, I'll start, and then I'll give you a point, and you can we'll debate it.
All right.
But firstly, I think there's a huge logical problem with transgenderism. What the whole thing we were talking about definitions last time? Do you not remember that? I'll go over it again. Basically, when you ask a transgender person to define man and woman, usually you don't get a good answer because they can't use the definitions that we use. Like, when we say a woman is an adult human female, a man is an adult human male, and we say a male is someone with those male body parts and things like that. They can't use that definition, obviously, because a man can be a woman, so you don't need those parts to have that gender. So they never have an explanation as to what they are. They say, oh, it's up to whoever's identifying as it to decide. But if you don't have a definition for what you are identifying as, are you identifying as anything at all? So what do you lot think about that? Do you guys think that's a logical problem, or what do you think?
No,
No?
no, I don't think that's a logical problem.
Or why?
Because, well, first of all, female and male, the terms female and male obviously have biological explanations for what they are. They're the definitions of biology. So when someone says that they can't define male or female, that's just them saying that they don't know what it is, right?
Right.
If now woman and man is where it becomes a bit murky, innit? Because obviously for centuries we associate the word man with male and female with woman.
Yeah.
But that doesn't I don't think that really defines it properly. I don't think that it gets I don't think that's the whole scope of it. Because obviously this whole transgender movement is such a new thing. We haven't really contemplated it in the past, right?
Yeah.
So now that that's been thrown into the spotlight, these definitions of man and woman are now being contemplated more. Whereas we know what male and female are because they're obviously indicators. They're indicators that determine what you are. But woman and man, they're sociological terms. So they have much
Yeah.
more nuance to them, and they're not as ironclad as male and female. They can be almost self-determinant in how they change. They can flow with the times. That's why when someone says they can't define it, fair enough, they can't define it because it does sort of depend on the on the person. Because if you're very masculine,
Right.
you have masculine traits, right?
Yeah.
You like work out a lot, I don't know, and you're really aggressive, and you're also like alpha, that sort of like thing, brave. There are good traits too. Does that make you a man?
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Well, exactly. That's
I
why it's
honestly,
so difficult, isn't it? Because you can be like a
having
woman and have those traits.
yeah, but I feel
Really
like at the core of it all, because that's just like personality stuff. That's not really. That's like me saying, oh, because I'm quiet, that makes me automatically like a nerd or something, and oh, I like to play sports, therefore I'm a muscular bodybuilder, and that's why I like that. I don't know. it doesn't feel right. Like what you decide to do or what your behavior is determining
But then,
what you are.
what determines masculine and feminine then?
Your no bits.
No,
That's what I
no,
think.
no. That's not true. No, then we
So
fundamentally
do
disagree.
you think?
We fundamentally
Because like no, throughout
'Cause you can be-
history we have had
you can be
yeah
You can be a man, but be quite feminine. You know, be in
yeah,
touch
but
with
there
your
are words for that. For
emotions.
example, like a woman that like plays sports and stuff. I'm pretty sure the word for that used to be tomboy at some point, wasn't it? Tomboy or something.
Yeah, tomboy.
Yeah, things like that have existed, but it doesn't like changing your entire gender for that. It feels like more like
No,
stereotypes.
but what I'm saying is,
And
it's more like analogous. It's what I'm trying to say is that there's no set
yeah,
definition for that, isn't it? Because it's so murky. You just sort of make up your own meaning for it. Like how I said,
yeah, but
a woman can be masculine and a man can be feminine, but that doesn't change what they are.
I don't know about that.
That's what I'm
Because
saying.
like
It's
yeah, no,
hard.
yeah,
It's hard.
if they are like if they are like feminine and as a man, because it's sort of like that whole thing of if like kids that boys that like to play with dolls and things like that, changing their gender at that point, I feel like we can all agree is a bit it's jumping the gun, isn't it? They're playing with dolls, liking the color pink, things like that.
When?
That's not really associated with being a man. But if a man does it, that doesn't automatically make them a woman.
No, but it makes
in my
them more
opinion.
feminine, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you can be a feminine male.
Exactly.
It doesn't change the fact that you're a male.
But then, so what makes a feminine trait then?
I guess that's just society standards, like
Exactly.
pink being a feminine thing.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Gender is to you. And a lot of
So you
people,
think gender is like a standard?
a lot of people don't see it because it's been so like hardwired in our brain that man is male and female is female. Sorry, female is woman. That's been hardwired because it's never been questioned. But when you actually think about it, it is
Yeah,
sociological.
but don't you think a line has been crossed between liking feminine things and changing your entire gender to become a woman? Like, there's such a huge gap. I don't think they can be compared.
No, I'm not. I'm because we can't possibly say how transgenders feel because we don't know how they feel, right?
I'm gonna get into that. Yeah.
So when someone says that it's obviously not as simple as, oh, I like sort of things that girls like, because I don't think, for me anyway, that wouldn't be enough to change your entire identity. Obviously something stronger than that might contribute to it, but it's something stronger. It's a strong sense of self, isn't it? Like how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
So that obviously is just a part of it. It's a small part of it. So I don't think we can determine why
We're
people
gonna
do
talk
what they
about
do.
that. Yeah.
Anyway, I want to hear what Sarah Bodge thinks.
Yeah. So Rashad was quite bit as usual. He's pretty quiet.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
It's a very difficult subject, isn't
Do
it?
you think
Yeah.
woman and man are like determined by your sex or by
Yeah.
society?
The first one.
The sex.
For your sex.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I never thought we'd get a traditionalist gay person on the show, but all right.
Salad's on my team this time, Sohna. How does it feel?
I don't care.
2v1.
I could take you both, man. I could take you
Come
both.
I wish I could say you were wrong. I wish I could say you were wrong, honestly. After religion, that's still hurting my soul, man.
Oh, that was
That
a good
quote,
one.
you know when I got the quote wrong and I got it wrong again.
That was a
Oh
good
man,
one.
hurt me.
That was a good
That hurt me. Oh yeah, but I want to talk about where transgenderism comes from because a lot of the time, it's gender dysphoria,
Mm.
and that's a mental illness, right?
Well,
And it can also be like delusions and stuff. And isn't that on the ICD and the DSM as a gender dysmorphia?
we talked about that last episode. I said it was
Yeah,
on, but then you googled it, right? And they said they'd removed it. I think.
that was the WHO, the WHO, World Health Organization. Nobody cares about them anyway.
Has the ICD? Let me quickly check, because we look at that.
I'll
we
check
look at the
that, yeah.
ICD.
I could. I don't know how it could be anything other than a mental illness.
Because I've googled this as well, and I think right now it only considers it mental illness if you're a child. And
it says gender non-conformity is not in itself a mental disorder, according to this.
Yeah,
website.
it's been well. Let's check what the ICD says, isn't it? Well, The
Yeah, ICT is the more.
they've renamed it and they call it gender incongruence,
Right.
and it's a condition related to sexual health. So but it does say that if it leads to other illnesses like depression and stuff like that, then it's a mental illness.
I think that is pretty common, actually, isn't it? Because if you think you're a different gender, you start not loving yourself, and that can lead to negative thoughts and things like that.
Yeah, so I think.
But the main point that I didn't get to talk about last. Actually, no, you want to go first?
No, you go.
Basically, we ran out of time last time, so I didn't get to say this.
Right.
But going on that, if it is a mental condition, why are we mainstreaming it? Because if any other mental condition like depression, for example, you don't say, oh, you should accept yourself for depression, you should love yourself. You say get help, get medicine, improve your life. And I feel like that should be the same for if this is a mental condition. We shouldn't be mainstreaming it like this. If it's a delusion, if it's a thought that, oh, even though I'm born this way, my mind has got this problem that it doesn't feel like that, and it's causing me these mental anguishes. I shouldn't be encouraging it. I should be getting rid of it.
Well, I don't.
So that's what I was going to ask about.
But depression is actively harmful to your health, though.
I feel like they both are.
Well, I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say gender dysphoria.
Because there's medicine you can take, isn't there?
What for depression?
No, for like gender dysmorphia, like hormone blockers, and even though those are like scientifically proven, they're not that dangerous, but they exist. They can turn you. They can like turn you different, and also can cause like regret in the future.
Yeah,
if you
of course.
decide to like, this transition.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. Regret, I know, but I think the condition itself isn't as harmful as depression is, because depression actively causes you to want to die, right? It just sucks all the happiness out of your life. And it was mainstream at one point. Don't you remember? Like everyone was on about depression at some point. It was a huge divide.
Yeah.
It was a huge divide. Some people said, "Oh, just grow up, come on, get over it," and the other people said, "No, ideal mental health is really important. People don't consider it." And I'm in that camp, by the way. After studying psychology,
me too.
we know, man, depression is mad. Okay.
It actually is horrible. Oh my god!
It's not just
OCD as well.
Yeah, it's not just get over it. It's not that, man. It's an actual disease of the brain. Like
sometimes you can't even get over it with help, like professional help. It's a horrible condition.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think gender dysphoria is quite the same. Like there are so many dysphorias out there. It's actually crazy.
Yeah.
But
it's actually mad how the brain works like that.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I don't think it's nearly as harmful as depression is. So, you know.
Does that matter though? Because like with the depression, you can have limits as well. You can have clinical depression, you can have slight depression, things like that. And if because this is like we're going off the assumption this is a mental condition because everyone seems to be unsure about it.
Yeah.
And there's like limits on that.
Right.
But if we are going off the assumption that it's a mental condition, it's still harmful. It's still a bad thing.
But not always.
And it's dysphoria.
Not always. Or not all mental conditions are harmful. Right.
Like
remember when you study abnormality? You remember abnormality, right?
Yeah, definitions of abnormality, statistical infrequency.
Yeah, what was one of the evaluations? IQ. What was one of the evaluations?
That what's it called?
Ideal IQ.
There's desirable traits in it.
Yeah,
desirable traits that are abnormal.
Yeah, not all traits are bad, you know. So even though it might be a mental health can. Yeah, IQ was the example they gave, but sometimes IQ can also be detrimental because when you're so like smart that literally no one else understands what you're trying to say, and it's almost debilitating. You know.
You know too much.
Oh no! Have you seen the film Idiocracy?
No.
Basically, this guy who has an average IQ of 100, and he's in the future in 2505, and everyone's an idiot, and he's literally the smartest man alive. It's kind of funny.
What?
100 isn't even that high, man.
I know, and he's the smartest man alive then.
Man.
Bad.
That sounds horrifying.
I know.
Anyway, yeah.
So I don't know how you watch so many movies. I never get a chance to watch movies anymore.
I don't have any time. This is literally like the hour that I've got for this is literally the only free time I've got now for today.
I'm glad that you use the time for this, of all things.
Yeah.
Man. Hopefully when exams are over, things will be easier, right? as long as we did well. But yeah, no, I don't know, because gender dysmorphia doesn't feel like one of those examples. Because like I don't see any circumstance where feeling that your brain isn't in the correct body could be a good thing, unless you learn to love yourself and accept yourself. In which that case, you're getting help for it. But at the end, you would have been better off without it in the first place.
Yeah, I don't think you could say you'd be better off or worse without it. I don't know.
You think there are circumstances where if you have gender dysmorphia, it's a good thing?
No, not really. But it's not necessarily a bad thing
Yeah.
either.
It's such a weird, because I feel like the LGBTQ thing right now is going through a bit of a renaissance. Like there's no rules, there's no direct things.
So are you grouping? Because you know a lot of people group gay people with transgenders.
Oh no.
So you think it's
I
two
just think in
different
general
things?
LGBTs. I have no problem with gay and lesbian people, because like you don't get to control what you like or what your desires are. You don't get to control what you're attracted to and what you're not attracted to. That's not something that's in your conscious control. And like just like you can't choose what you like and dislike in terms of food, you don't get to choose that.
Right.
So I don't, and that doesn't cause that much of a problem either.
Doesn't
But
cause-
things like transgenderism, where there's like these logical issues and things like that, I don't have that for gay and lesbian, like I do with transgender.
Better not.
Yeah, it's also Salad here, and Salad would shove his fist up my ass
Yeah.
when I get.
Anyway, yeah, I don't think that.
But yeah, it's just trans, only trans.
I don't really. It's just just let them live the way they want to live, innit? Like I don't see.
Yeah, that's fine. Honestly, I don't have a problem with them, because like it goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. I don't really have a problem with what they do. It's just I don't think they should enforce it on others. Like do what you want.
Well, if someone if someone
Hmm.
came up to you and said, "My gender is this, and I'd like you to refer to me as this," would you
Yeah,
Would you take that and do that?
I would try. I mean, I can't say I wouldn't try, because that's just politeness at that point. But I won't if someone's like, oh, I have the all those like ridiculous pronouns we were looking at. I wouldn't enforce that. And also, if I got the pronoun wrong, I wouldn't expect them to be angry about it. If they got angry about it, I'd be like, no, I did nothing wrong. That's sort of where I'm at. That's the kind of camp I'm in. It's a very weird thing, isn't it?
Um,
But in the end, it doesn't really harm you that much if someone is, if they believe that.
And judge them what's between their legs.
Oh yeah, yeah. You take a magnifying glass and look at what's between their legs. You just
well,
go
so then when you
pull their pants down,
when you say
have a look.
when you say they shouldn't enforce that on others, then
Yeah.
what do you mean then exactly?
Because have you not seen all the cases of like people misgendering, and then huge arguments break out? It's like, how dare you? That's very rude. You misgendered this gentleman here, even though it's like she's a woman and she looks like a woman, and you're like, oh, that must be a woman. And you misgender, and then it's like it causes so many issues.
But I don't think
we
don't know the ins and outs of those cases though. It could be that someone how you said you would refer to them the gender they want to refer to because that's politeness, right?
Right.
Well, what if someone fundamentally disagrees with that and just outright just refuses to do that, and then basically does it just to just to try and get their point across? That's just rude, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. This is where it gets a bit complicated, isn't it?
It's rude. It's
because
clearly
everyone
rude.
also has the right to have their own beliefs. Like if you can change your pronouns at will, I should be able to say what I want to say. It's like it's polite, but it's not as polite as something like, okay, don't insult them, things like that. It's a very limited politeness. I think
saying what you want to say, freedom of speech. I'm a very big proponent of it.
Yeah.
I'm a very big proponent of it. You know, especially why I'd be a big proponent of it, because of how I think about religion, right?
Right. I'm well aware by now.
Yeah. But there are certain limitations to it, definitely, because words have power, man. They have power. So
they do.
If you're invoking hatred towards a group of people, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's not protected by freedom of speech, because that's hate speech. That's become hate speech, right?
Right.
If you're talking about someone from the past and you're criticizing them heavily, that's fine. That's freedom of speech, right? Because you're not invoking any hatred towards a group of people, you're just literally criticizing a singular figure.
Yeah.
That's why when some people try to oppose transgenderism actively by being, as anti-transgender as they can, I'm not
Yeah.
sure if that's protected by freedom of speech.
It's a very weird freedom of speech in general nowadays, especially, and what's criticism and what's insults and what's rude and what's not rude and what's offensive. It's the line is so blurred now. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, do you know that the word female now is considered offensive?
No.
Female.
What?
No.
If you say female, you can look this up. Female is considered an offensive term. I am so disappointed in my own race for this, but Paki is an offensive term now.
Well,
Which
it
I could
always
go on
was.
for
No,
days
that
about how
was
stupid
that
that is.
originally
That's
was,
always
but
been
we
offensive.
No, like,
we make it as a joke.
no, I've
We,
had white people call me Paki all the time, like it's
When?
normal, and I have no problem with it.
When?
Huh?
that's
When?
actually racist.
Bro, I'm pretty sure Richard's called me that in the past, and I've had no problem with it.
That's racist, fam.
It actually
That's
is a
racist.
That's not.
We
No,
just
Richard's white,
make it a
obviously.
joke. We just make it a joke.
Honestly,
because it actually sounds funny.
I-
Let's be real. It actually sounds funny.
It does sound funny.
Well, Richard
It's
being
funny,
But
but
racist.
it's actually racist.
you can only do it if you're Pakistani yourself, or you're from that area, or
I disagree.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
if-
Or you Indian.
If you could call a Scottish person a Scot, if you call a British person a Brit, a Polish person a Pole, you should call a Pakistani person a Paki.
no, because of the history of the word, isn't it? It's been used.
Yeah, but why are we
derogatorily.
holding ourselves
Because just the same
like,
reason why black people
hostage
say
to
the
the
N-word.
past?
The same reason.
I disagree with the N
Yeah,
word
but
too,
with the
bro.
N-word,
I
Of
disagree with
course.
the N word too.
Of course, I disagree with that too, because I think it's actively racist what you're doing.
I think it's not even that. It's not even that. For me, the N word, the reason I hate the N word is because I think black people shouldn't say it either. There were so many slurs, right, that were used against, take any minority group, the Jews, for example, right, that people don't say nearly as much anymore because they've let them die out in history. But you keep bringing back the N word. You're bringing back Paki as an insult. You're just giving racists more ammo. It's like, why are you doing this? It's so stupid. I'm saying this right now, in the podcast, recorded right now, for the rest of my life. Anyone who wants to talk to me has a P word pass. Call me a Paki as much as you want. I have no problem with it. Zero issue. Anyone can do it, and I don't give zero tosses. I'd appreciate it if you did, actually. No, I don't see, because Paki should not be a slur. It shouldn't be. It's shortening Pakistani. It's not a slur. Oh shit, Craig unexpectedly disconnected. If you want me to stop recording, please command me to leave. If this wasn't you, please start a new recording. Wait, what? Wait, let me press /leave. Hang on, because I think it might not have recorded anything. I don't know why that just happened. Oh, for fuck's sake! Don't tell me. Don't tell me that just happened.
Well, what happened?
No, I'm sure it's fine, right?
It did say
Wait, hang on.
Skype recording.
This is what it sent me. I have been unexpectedly disconnected. If you wanted me to stop recording, please command me to leave with /leave. If this wasn't from you or it was an error, please start a new recording with /join.
What?
Oh
Okay,
shit.
so how do you normally receive the audio file?
Basically, they give me a link. It says, download link, and it's like, oh, I'm recording this podcast right now. Do you want to just stop quickly so I can quickly check this?
Yeah,
Okay,
go
then,
on.
if you want.
I think we're okay. It stopped recording, but it kept the stuff that we lost, so I think we're fine. Okay, I think we're fine. I think everything's all good. Let me add him again.
Yeah.
That gave me such a huge heart attack. Oh my god.
Well, explain what happened to our listeners then.
Give me a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had some.
I'll put a
difficulties,
screenshot actually of what I see. So basically, it said, I've been disconnected by accident, and no recording is taking place right now. And then so the entire thing just got kicked out. But luckily, it records anyway.
Sent you a
So
file.
it sent me the file before, and I just didn't see it. So luckily we're okay.
Anyway, yeah, let's continue.
Where were
Let's
we?
continue. What was that?
Well, I don't even remember what
We're
we
talking about transgender people.
Yeah.
We're talking about
Thanks.
transgender
Yeah,
people.
that's what we
Narrowed
can do
it
the
down.
entire time, bro.
Oh, yeah, thank
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Let me think. We talked about mental illness,
you.
right?
I forgot.
We were talking about offensiveness, innit? I was talking about how Paki shouldn't be an insult, right? Paki shouldn't be a slur.
Oh, right.
I think Craig took offense to
Well,
my Paki thing. All right.
you know what I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I tell you something that I believe about this whole movement?
Go on.
You know,
Go on then.
after all these left-wing movements came along, so like gay rights was the first thing, and then transgender, and then obviously freedom of religious rights has always been a deal as well, but it's never quite gotten the same like peak as the others.
Yeah.
Obviously, race, people saying Black Lives Matter, all that, right? I think that in response to that, our generations has become like trying to oppose it as much as they can because that's what teenagers are like, innit? Right? We like to be edgy. We like to be as edgy as we can, right? I can say that for a fact that all of us like to be edgy, trying to be different and whatever. And places like Reddit breed that in it.
Yeah.
Right? So I think the only reason why there's so much dissent, a backlash from this, is two reasons. First of all, old people are still alive, right? Eventually they'll die off, and then there'll be no more racism. And secondly, it's because of places like Reddit where there are these groups of people that really want to be edgy and try and like defy something. Well, I see Ibrahim's having some technical difficulties of his own. Anyway, do you agree with me, Sarabaj?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Everyone wants to be a bit different and follow the crowd.
What's the matter? What's going on now?
Nothing's going on, nothing. I just had to sort something out, and then I had to. So I keep going. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine.
Whatever, man. Anyway,
You sure
yeah,
about that?
Everything's alright, man. Technical difficulties.
I don't think
We're
so.
working through it. Salah, what do you think about what Sohna said? That I definitely heard what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with him on that. Yeah.
He agrees with me. What do you think?
Teenagers are more inclined to this stuff, aren't they?
So
They're more progressive or whatever.
Yeah. I agree with that too. There's like a divide where some people really want to like agree with it because we're so progressive, and the others that are like almost traditionalist because they want to be edgy and cool.
I feel like you can only disagree with it if you have genuine logical reasonings for it. But people don't like logic very much. They're not a very big fan of that. Whole thing.
Well, I don't think there are any logical inconsistencies in it.
With trans.
Yeah.
Given all the things that do you think I'm edgy for what I've said?
No.
You can clearly see I'm not of the I'm not a hater, but I'm not
You're just weird.
Yeah, I'm not fully agreeing on it either.
Well, I usually never fully agree, right? Because I like always being the devil's advocate. If I could defend the devil in court, I would. But
that's a hard case, bro.
I thought you were the devil.
That's not a hard case, man. That's not a hard case. I'd
fraud.
definitely get him acquitted. Anyway,
the only evidence you have is the Bible that was written by God.
Yeah, well, all I could say was, wait, doesn't everything happen because of God? So even if the devil was doing something bad, that was technically God. So.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right.
There you go. Anyway, yeah, I don't really have any. What I do have a problem with, and I think we should get to this. Have you made like a topic list?
I have. We still have to talk about transgender in sport. I've already told you this entire section is the biggest, most wide section of any section in LGBTQ.
There's
so much to talk about.
Let's do that.
I forgot what I was going to say. There was something else, but I guess we'll move on to it. If I remember, I'll tell you. But transgender in sport, what should we do about it? You all know the deal. If it's a man competing in a women's sport, they have an unfair advantage.
Wait, what does Sarabaj say?
If you can just end the argument. If you were born a man, you're participating in the men. If you're born a female, you're participating in women.
What?
You sexist transphobe, how dare you?
Because technically it's biological. But if you think about it, it's nothing to do with their personality.
Unless you had
because men are.
Unless you transitioned before puberty, though.
If anyone transitions before puberty, that's abuse, bro.
I think that is abuse. But if it does happen, then I think that's all right. Then it's not a big deal.
Is it?
Mm.
Okay. Well, does it actually have big effects on your biology?
Yeah. But before testosterone
fair
has
enough.
taken over and starts making everything way bigger and stronger.
Fair enough.
If you do it when you're really young, then you're basically a woman, basically.
Yeah.
Nothing's really changed. Because
Fair
in
enough.
primary school, girls and boys are basically like the same height, same weight, same strength.
But how did you determine that,
Nah.
though?
Well, because puberty hasn't taken over, innit?
I don't know. Even then, like I don't think the things you can take, like hormone blockers and stuff like that, is that effective that can just completely erase it.
I think there are some cases where it has happened, and it basically does completely erase it.
Yeah, but what about in general though? Because like usually the rules apply to everyone, but that would be like very specific circumstances.
Yeah. In general, no.
I feel like the only possible thing we can do is give them their own section. But the problem is
No.
nobody watches the women's sports. Who would watch the trans sports? Like nobody would watch that shit.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I'm just saying there's not enough trans people to support an event like that.
I feel like you'd add more because like then the trans people would be competing against
That's
themselves. There'd be less competition and more people would do it.
Nah. There's not enough competitors, though. There wouldn't be enough competitors.
You think so?
Yeah, you hear recently about that swimmer. What's her name?
I don't keep up with that
I've
shit,
forgotten
honestly.
her name. There's that swimmer, right? And she was ranked like 400th in the world for men,
All right.
and then she won for women, number one,
She?
when she transitioned.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
she
Yeah, because
transitioned.
males just have a different. That's just evolution, biology.
But I think that's really really unfair that they've done that because
Yeah.
she decided that she wanted a scholarship for it,
Mm,
right? Even though she's not a professional swimmer, she's only been swimming since she was in college, right?
right.
So it's not like whoa, like you've been training your whole life for this. She hasn't. She hasn't. Whereas the other competitors, they have, man. They've dedicated their whole education to this, like this scholarship.
Yeah.
And she just comes along. She comes along with taller. She's 6'1", right? So she's almost my
Tall
height,
athlete.
yeah. She's got mad reach. She's obviously stronger. She's obviously gonna, even if she's
She's a
slower
man.
than some of the other women, she's obviously gonna reach the end quicker because she's got longer arms, right?
That happening in wrestling as well. I'm
That's-
pretty sure as well. There was like a wrestling thing that happened, and there was a kid who transitioned and was in the women's team or something. I feel like if you're trans, you don't compete. That's it. There's like nothing. You've picked the trans life. That's what you want. You change your gender,
Man.
you take the pills. That's your choice, bro. I don't know.
I really can't support it.
Extra
What?
controversial.
I really can't
What's
support
Salad
it.
trying to say? Salad what?
You're going extra controversial.
I've got extra. Yeah, but like you can't just take medicine and expect to be treated as a competitor. I don't
I guess
understand.
so.
Bro.
I guess what you mean.
I'm turning into Richard, bro. I'm actually turning into Richard. Not gonna lie.
Well, I can't support it either.
Oh yeah, so
Can't.
you gotta agree with Sohna at least. You can't agree with me. You gotta agree with Sohna at least, innit? See now, Salad doesn't know what to think.
I feel like
I can't agree with it, and there's some things that are just too like ridiculous to support, and I can't support it because it's quite clearly fair sport. You gotta be fair,
Yeah,
right? If it's like how doping is illegal. Doping's illegal, right?
right.
You can't take steroids, can't take performance enhancers. Testosterone is almost certainly a performance enhancer.
is.
It's just a natural performance.
It doesn't boost like
Very
aggression
high levels of testosterone.
and like energy or something.
Yeah, and
Strength,
muscle,
yeah.
and muscle density, and obviously it influences your heart size and your lung capacity and all these huge different factors. Man, it's unfair.
It
It's
is.
literally just unfair sport. So that's why I can't like.
So if you
in any
if
way
you had to
support
choose
it.
between the only two viable options, which is give the trans their own section or just don't ban them completely from competing, which one would you rather have?
I'd make the regulation where if you are not born a natural woman, then you can't compete.
So you basically ban them up, like.
I'd say you can't compete in the
Oh
women's
right. So
sport.
you basically
You
go with
can
the
if you want
biology
in.
then.
You can compete in men's sport if you want, if you're willing to take your disadvantage on the chin, but you can't compete in women's sport.
Yeah, and then when you say that, they're like, "No, but I am a woman. That's what I am, though."
Well, then that's too bad.
Too bad, so sad.
You can still pull your pants now. Listen.
What?
What?
What were you saying? Did you say penis size?
You
What?
know what I said. No, pull your pants.
Oh,
Well,
pull your pants.
like right now the Olympics has testosterone, right? Testosterone limit. It's something like the limit is 5 nanomoles. No, 10 nanomoles. Something like that. 10 nanomoles per liter of blood.
That doesn't sound like a lot.
Right?
Oh, Ibs, where is that?
It's not a lot, but obviously testosterone is very, potent.
Yeah, potent.
So the average man has about, I think, 15 to 20 nanomoles per liter.
Oh, okay.
Whereas the average woman has like 2.5.
Yeah,
So
lads.
it's still unfair though. It's still unfair.
It's not. Yeah, it's not fair.
Even if you add that limit, and it's also barring some women that naturally have high levels of testosterone.
Yeah, that is true. Like, what can they do about it? It's not their fault.
Yeah, some women that compete, like I've forgotten what her name was, but she was like basically a woman. She's a natural woman, and she had very, very high levels of testosterone, but that's just what her body naturally produced. And because of that, she was barred from sport.
What?
Yeah, even though she's a natural woman. She's born a woman. She's always been like a woman. She hasn't had any hormone therapy or treatment whatsoever. It's just her body.
That's so stupid. What?
And she was banned from it because she wasn't classified as a woman by the Olympics.
Was she able to compete in the men's then?
Participate in the men one.
Yeah, me and Salad.
She probably can compete in the men's, yeah, but obviously it's not fair, is it? Because you're a woman. Like...
She still doesn't have that much, like.
No, sports are sexist.
Oh man, this is why we have the gaps in general, and then trans comes in here and changes everything. Because like, if you know the whole idea of genderless society and stuff, so many things would have to be reworked for that to work. Example, the Olympics, like we've done. Genderless bathrooms. That is already happening, by the way. That is already a thing. You don't know. And
no.
The problem is, because you can imagine, I don't know, personally, I bet the large majority of women don't want men in their bathrooms. And I personally, I don't know about you lot, but I definitely don't want women in my bathroom. What the fuck? This is weird.
Prisons is also where it's dangerous.
Yeah, prisons as well, yeah.
If a man decides that I'm a woman, they have to be put in a woman's prison. And if they're put in a woman's prison, can you imagine one man around like as many women as you can count?
That is, oh man.
And they're probably like a hardened criminal. It doesn't matter if there's hardened criminals that are women around you. If you're a hardened man and you're probably giant,
lads.
It's not
like the guards do anything anyway.
Yeah, well, that happened one time.
Oh, yeah. Was it America?
Yeah, of course.
A
few women got raped because of it. Yeah, the guy.
So you see what I was saying about transgender and some of the problems that kind of exist with it.
Well, we're talking. Obviously, those are the consequences of it. I'm talking about the issue at its core, but by itself.
That's the end goal. That's the end goal of transgenderism, to genderless society.
I think that wouldn't actually.
Obviously, that's not everyone's opinion, but
that wouldn't be that wouldn't be that bad. I don't think so.
Genderless society. The thing is, this part of LGBT, or this part of T in LGBT, contradicts directly with feminism, because women in general, actually,
I've seen that.
They don't want men in their bathrooms because of that problem. So what trans is doing is basically being like, our opinion is more important than yours. So it leads to a bit of
They're both equally unimportant. I mean, I'm joking.
Yeah. No, you stay on that hill. You die on that hill, bro. Die on that hill.
What I'm saying is that's a really big conflict going on in the left wing politics, isn't it? Feminism.
Yeah, you gotta join the right side, bro. Join the right side.
No, I'm not joining the right side. Right sides are full of racists and crazy people.
Hey, that's where I'm at, bro.
Yeah, you're not right either, Ibrahim.
I'm like a middle. I don't agree with left ideologies a lot of the time, though.
No, man.
There's a lot of things about right. I'm pro-life as well, just as an FYI. So.
You're pro-life.
Yeah, what the fuck? I'm pro-life.
About that.
Oh yeah. That's the thing on the list.
You're absolutely crazy, Ibrahim.
Bro.
Just saying.
It's not even for before anyone says it's not religious reasons.
My
I'm not
level
even
of respect
religious,
for
bro.
you has gone down. Like seriously,
Oh yeah.
that is just
Don't worry,
that's poor.
we'll sort this out in a few months when we finally finish our exams. And it's not even a few months anymore. It's 41 days until the first exam. So in a few weeks, once we finish our exams, I'll put down the list as next thing we discuss.
Whatever.
I just hope we can get an hour out of it.
I expect
All
more
right,
from you.
whatever.
Anyway,
Whoa.
I think we can all agree that transgenders in sports, especially if it's for women,
It's not possible. It's not feasible.
it's not fair. It's not fair.
I don't know that. I confused.
One
It's
thing,
just not feasible. There's no way it works.
the best argument I've heard for it though
Right.
is that the guy, he was like a commissioner for like one of the competitions. It might have been Commonwealth or something, right?
Right.
And he said that everyone's bought into this idea that sports is fair when it was never fair. Okay, sports has always had natural advantage to some people. If the Commonwealth said himself, if I wanted to become a professional tennis player, I couldn't. Look at me, I'm small, I'm chubby, I can't do that, right? But other people that are tall and fit and lanky and have this natural talent, they can. Right? That's an unfair advantage that they had because of their biology, right? And it might be natural, but it's still unfair. So when people say, "Oh, but it's for the fairness of the sport, it's for the fairness," it's not fair. Sports has never been fair. People have always
It's the same with basketball too.
People have always had natural advantages over other people.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a basketball player below like 6 foot or like 5 foot.
There are none
Very
below
high.
like 5. You can't if you're
They're
below.
just not good enough.
If you're below 6 foot, then you're like very very short. Very short.
That's like the limit. That's like minimum.
Yeah.
Or like maximum rather. Maximum shortness
Yeah. So
you can have.
that's the best argument I've heard for it, but I still don't think being naturally advantageous and imposing an advantage onto someone are two different things though.
Yeah.
So that's
It's like me saying, "Oh, I don't have the same energy required, therefore I'm gonna take this medicine and now I should be accepted." It's just not fair.
Yeah.
Alright, let me just take a look. So we've discussed transgender in sport. We've discussed this trans and mental illness. LGBT, the genderless society. We've talked about the genderless society, right?
Yeah.
How that's not really. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, we
did
did talk.
Or last time.
Yeah.
I don't know if we finished it, but I think we finished it now. All right, here's a really really controversial one, and this is the last one we'll end on. What age is the right age to learn about LGBT? And we have very differing opinions on this, right?
Man. I told you.
We have very differing opinions on this, which we ran out of time before, so we couldn't get onto. But should I go first?
Let's ask Sarabaj first. Let's ask Sarabaj first.
Yeah, let's ask the chaotic neutral first.
2 years old.
2 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
nah, honestly, like 11 or 13 around then.
Okay.
Right.
Actually, to be honest, already be exposed to it to the beginning. Like, like in primary school, our like diversity was so
There
wide.
you
like,
go.
Black, white, Asian.
And on Sarabaj's point.
So,
right?
Wait, just to be clear, are you talking
like,
about all of LGBT or just gay and lesbian?
Well, something that isn't straight. something that isn't straight.
So something that's
every
against
relationship
the regular
is
norms.
straight in media. Every relationship.
Right.
It's almost like
not really.
like it's just.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, and then that create that whole idea of, okay, so now you learn about straight couples. Now let's talk about all the other ones, the ones that are different. Well, why? Why did you have to create that dichotomy?
I get what you mean. Like, how there's like a princess and she meets the Prince Charming, and
that's the normal,
a man and a woman,
and that's the normal relationship. Yeah. And then there's all the other ones that we should talk about just because you have to, like. But
right.
If you talked about them all as if they all exist on the same level and they all occur and they all mean the same thing, they all mean love, then like it'd be normalized, it'd be okay, and that has to occur when you're young. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah. What I'm saying is, in the nature versus nurture debate, I'm a very nurture person. I definitely think your environment affects you a lot more. And I've noticed that in environments such as, you know, Bollywood, or Hollywood rather, not Bollywood, fucking hell, Hollywood, where actors' children's are more consistently coming out as these areas. In certain areas, it feels like when you're taught it more, these areas have more of that. Like, for some reason, when you're grown up with transgender beliefs, you turn out to be more likely to be transgender. Things like that. I feel like your environment affects that a lot more.
But what's
Now that
wrong
can
with
be
that?
good. That can be good. That can be bad. Because I feel like when you're at a young age, you don't know anything, and I've always believed this. I don't know about you personally, because you were telling us on the group chat that one time that you were thinking about, like, what was it? What were you saying? Sex or something? Like a really young age.
Yeah. I was aware of
I
it
don't know.
at a
I
very
don't know
young
about
age.
that. I did not think that at all. A kid, at least
That's because
from
you grew
my
up in a
belief,
Muslim hardcore family where everything
it
is
wasn't. It
controlled.
wasn't. It wasn't that. It genuinely wasn't that. It was because at that age, most kids are in the belief of, ew, girls are disgusting,
Nah.
slimy creatures.
Yeah, you
Boys are
say that. You
better.
say that outwardly, but really, you look at a girl and that's like paying in it. That's normal.
No, no, yeah, not at that age.
Yeah, I
When
did.
you grow up,
I did.
when you get
Not
older,
me.
when you reach year 7, then
No,
okay,
for me it was
then
like
fair
No,
enough.
still not me. No.
year 5, maybe.
How? I don't get
Because
it. Look, I'll give it to you. I'll give you one thing. I'll give you one thing. I was very
I'm
late in
still
everything, including mental maturity. So maybe, just maybe, you're right. But I'm not sure. In my opinion, when you hit puberty, that's when it starts. That's when you should be taught. Whether that's 13 years of age, whether that's 15 years of age. I don't know when puberty. It's different for everyone, isn't it? But I think when you start learning about these things, when you start learning all these organs, then you should be able to start introducing these ideas. Because otherwise, you're just going to confuse them.
the
You know,
problem
it's just
I
confusing.
the problem I have with your approach, wow, the whole confusing
Right.
argument. So many people come up with that. That means nothing. It actually means nothing. But the problem I have with
Why?
your argument, Ibrahim, is the
Yeah.
way you view what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
Because you know how biology and sex is taught when you're going through it yourself, puberty, right? In secondary
Right.
school. That's when the whole idea of, oh yes, the vagina serves this purpose and the penis serves this purpose, and this is what conception is, and this is what fertilization is. You learn that, right?
When did you wait? Which year?
When you're in secondary school.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that's not the whole idea I'm trying to say here. The whole idea of a couple, right? A couple,
Mm.
two people that love each other, exists however, whatever age, when you're 1, 2, 3, whatever age, whenever you're watching something, you see a couple,
Yeah.
two people that love each other, and you understand that, oh, these two people love each other, right?
Right.
What you're trying to say is, no, you're trying to assume, you're basically saying that when I say transgender couple or gay couple or whatever, right? You're basically assuming that I'm talking
Oh.
about the biology of it and like understanding that these people love it, they're attracted to each other sexually. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to make I'm just trying to basically help kids understand that there are other people that you can love someone without having to be a man or woman. You
Oh,
know?
I see. No, the reason we're disagreeing is because we're not on the same page here. You're talking about gay and lesbian couples. I'm talking about trans people here. That's the problem. When I say confusion, I mean what your gender is. I don't mean relationships. That's not what I'm on about. And I
Oh,
think
right,
that's where we've.
right.
I think we've kind of gone on the wrong. I think transgender should never be taught until puberty. I don't mind gay and lesbian stuff. That's like, because you're right. Most animals, like a lot of animals, are gay as well, and same sex. It's different, but there's been studies done that shows that it doesn't affect the child if they're grown up in a with two dads or two mums, and it's healthy overall. And you know how I said I
Ben
don't have
Shapiro would
problems with that
disagree.
already because you don't get to control what you love anyway.
Yeah.
That's not something in your control. Whereas what we've talked about with transgender, how it's a mental condition, maybe, how it's delusion, maybe, we don't know yet, maybe, things like that. That's where the problem lies, isn't it?
Um.
Because you can't control what you are attracted to. But if it's a gender thing and it's a mental health condition thing, you can control that.
Well,
You can go to therapy. You can be like, okay, I'm gonna learn to love myself. I'm gonna accept who I am, and I'm gonna get rid of these thoughts. You can't
making
do that with attraction.
making making kids aware of what identities exist, right?
Yeah.
I don't think is a big. Well, okay, because a lot of people make the mistake here that making making really young children aware that other identities exist is the same as trying to enforce it.
Mm.
It's not the same. It's not someone coming up to you and say, "Oh, well, do you feel different? Do you want to be this, or do you want to?" No, it's not that. It's not trying to basically coerce them into becoming something else. Obviously, they're susceptible to it because they're kids, and kids are like that.
Yeah.
But making, just like you're teaching normal science or whatever, making or history or sociology, whatever, something that pertains to family or identity, making children aware that, you know, sometimes some people can feel different about themselves, right, than how other people see them, can actually be
Yeah.
really important. It can be really important, especially for mental health. It can be. Because then suddenly some kids that feel like they're trapped, right, that, you know, they have to conform to this certain way because everyone sees them this way, even though they don't feel like that, is really,
Yeah.
and that can lead to like depression and like hurting yourself, and, you know, eventually not accepting yourself for who you are. That is, I think
Yeah.
it's really important to tell children from a young age that yes, there are some people that are different, and it's, you don't have to say it openly. Maybe create like a club or something, like after school, whatever, for children that want to talk about it or whatever, that feel like they're different. It's not enforcing it. It's not like telling them that, you know, this, you have to be like this or you have to be like that. It's basically making them aware that there are some things that are different to what meets the eye.
Yeah, but the thing is, your argument hinges entirely based on when they get these conditions. If they got gender dysmorphia as young children, then it makes sense. Then the depression can happen. Then they can not feel the way they are. But I'm saying that they can only really know these things and truly make an informed decision that, yes, I don't feel this way, when they know more about gender, when they've reached that maturer age of puberty. Because that's when, because before that, like you said, a man and a woman aren't that different. You know, after puberty, then these things kick in. Then you get this influx of the specific hormones like testosterone in men, estrogen in female, things like that. It kicks in at that time, right?
Right.
Before then, men and women aren't that different. If you ask a kid what a man and a woman is, they'd probably just say, "Oh, a woman likes dolls, a woman likes pink things," and then you hit that argument of, "Well, if I'm a boy and I like playing with dolls, does that make me a woman?" And then confusion can happen. And I don't think gender dysmorphia can even happen at that age anyway. So, with all that in consideration, do you still think at that young of an age that it really matters if they're taught or not?
What? How young are we talking?
I mean, I say it can kick in at puberty, and you're saying like, what do you mean by young age in your eyes? Because for me, it's puberty.
Well, I think, well, I know you can have sexual feelings before puberty. I know that.
Mm.
Um,
I've never experienced that. I'm not sure really.
I know, because you're a late bloomer, Ibrahim.
I'm a very late bloomer. I won't even lie.
I think maybe
That's
like
not Salad. Salad's the third party.
just before you end primary school
Yeah.
is probably whereabouts, maybe.
Okay. So Salad. When did you have your first crush? Just as an FYI, mine was year 7.
My
Yeah,
first
like
crush,
a proper like
like first being
attraction.
attraction. Oh, Ibrahim, come on, man.
What, guy or girl?
Well, what's wrong with that?
That year 7 is how long it took for you to be attracted to someone.
Yes, I didn't get that before then.
What is wrong with you, man? That's weird.
How? How is that? How?
You're telling me you never
When
looked
was
at
your
a girl
salad?
and thought, wow.
No, not until year
I
7.
looked at a guy.
No, that's weird, man.
Wait, Salad. When was yours?
What, guy or girl?
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about that.
Either.
Either of them. First one.
Oh. Let me think. Guy, probably. I probably had a crush on Superman. I'm not joking.
Superman.
Super.
Okay.
Salad always finds a way to surprise me every time.
Oh god. That must have been, I don't know, 7.
7. Oh, Sal, you saw now. Get wrecked, bro. Get wrecked.
Wait, year 7.
No,
Uh,
no,
what?
7. 7.
What?
Oh fuck! Oh fuck!
Oh, wait, girls are different though. No, that was like 14.
14. I don't know whether to feel happy or sad now. Well, I'm getting mixed. You know that video where it's like there's the chef and he's like, "You should be delighted that your food is so terrible." Whatever that video is, and he's like, "Do you guys see that video?"
What?
Which
There's like this video where he's like a chef, right? And the guy's like, oh, he's in like a cooking show, like it might be MasterChef or something. And then the guy's like, this food is so bad or something. And then the guy's like sad, and then he's like, no, that it should be given to everyone because it's so good, something like that. And it goes up and down. That's how I feel right now. I don't know whether it's 7, 14 years old. What's happening, Salad? I don't understand.
I don't know what you feel it really.
Anyway,
Wait, so Salad, did you say 14 years of age is when you had your first like proper thing?
no, he said yes when he was 7 years old.
But that was about Superman, bro. Alright, we'll go with 7. I don't know. I think it's different for everyone.
I think
I don't know, whenever you feel it really, because I remember in primary school, like end of year 6, this guy had a crush on this girl.
what I'm saying is,
End of year 6 and year 7 is very similar.
There's
basically.
two
It's
possibilities.
pretty much the same thing.
there's two possibilities for Ibrahim. Either he's a mad outlier and he was late blooming, right? Or
Come on.
his school was full of ugly people.
I don't know. Fucking, you're giving me a midlife crisis right now, bro. It's not even midlife. It's early life crisis.
You haven't
I'm
hit
17.
that, mate. You're not going to hit that until you're 70 at the rate you're going.
Should I look up the statistics? Like, I'm gonna look up right now. What is the average age of a first crush? Hang on, I'm looking this up right now. Around 10 to 13 years of age.
Nah, Google's wrong. Google's wrong.
healthucdavis.edu
Google's wrong.
is where that came from.
Google's wrong. I'm telling you.
Should I go on parentscanada.com? You want to trust
No,
Canada?
because it's not something you can study. Because kids don't divulge information like that.
I feel like I was pretty trusting at that age. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's because you're the guy you're the kid that walks into the van when someone tells you that they have candy in there.
Oh, don't put me there, bro. Don't put
You're
me
that
there. I
kid
would
though.
never do
You're
such
that
a thing.
kid. I'm the kid that says no, get lost, and then walk off. You're the kid.
You wanna... I would never. I was trusting to family members. All right.
No,
That's
man.
just stupid.
If
That's just
someone-
natural
You gotta
selection.
try that.
If someone asked you, do you like this girl? Would you say yeah to your family? Would you?
To my family?
Yeah.
Well, but what age? Not now.
When
but
you were
what age?
young,
Like,
when you
back
were like
then?
in primary school.
I think so. I would. Yeah, probably.
No, man.
Not for very long. After a while, that would have changed. But for a very brief time, I probably would have.
No, I never divulged that information. That belonged.
Yeah,
You
That
can
belong-
still find out. Kids are so obvious. Kids
Nah,
are very like you can tell.
Nah, I'm proper discreet.
And I've got another source. Apparently, according to Reddit, it's also year 12. I don't know. Not year 12, but 12 years of age.
That's because
Year
no,
Year
no.
12, yeah. I felt my first crush in
What?
sixth form. Sorry, guys.
See, look at that.
So the
Sixth
evidence.
form.
The evidence is
Did
here.
you just say sixth form?
No, I said it's actually 12 years, and I said year 12 by accident. It's actually 12 years.
What? See, no.
Look,
I'm telling you.
Look, Sora, why don't you accept that you could be the outlier? Maybe.
Why would I
I
be
mean, you're like, yeah. Why would I be the outlier?
No, because you're
According to
weird.
the internet, it's 12 years of age.
The internet's
or
wrong.
10 to. Yeah, but what?
That's average. That is average.
That's average. Yeah,
average.
that's average. That's
Because
considering
those are the
weirdos
years
like
where
you,
you
bro.
start to. That's the. Yeah, everyone's weird apart from you. Yeah, Sora. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going with?
Yeah, I'm the only normal
Oh,
one.
fuck's sake. You're the.
You're not normal. None of
Alright,
them.
when you start feeling attraction, when you start being able to tell the difference between a man and a woman, then. Alright.
Okay.
Before
When-
then, there's no difference between a man and a woman. Everyone's the same before then. When you hit puberty, that's when you start changing.
No, I can tell the difference between a man and a woman. No, when I was
At
younger.
the age of 5?
At the age of 5.
I mean, year 5. For fuck, I can't get this
Yeah.
right.
Year
Simon,
5.
I can't speak.
Year 5, yeah, I
Year
could.
5.
Yeah, I could.
Year 5, you can tell the difference between.
Yeah,
a man
I could.
and a woman.
I mean,
So,
yeah, no, that actually the way I reference that's a bit stupid. You can tell the difference, but
3 years old.
as a
Mm.
attraction, as a sexual thing, I don't know.
Oh, that. I don't know. I don't have any.
That's like
feelings
a
like
year 7 thing. I'm gonna die on. This is a hill I will die on. It's year 7. Yeah.
I don't
Early,
think so.
late year 6, early year 7, which is basically the same thing if we're honest. Late
Yeah.
year 6, early year 7.
that. Not for me.
Yeah, I don't know what we're
But not
arguing
early year
with this.
6,
We're only
late
like
year
2 years
6.
apart. 2 years isn't that big.
I don't know. Maybe things are different.
That's what
I guess it does depend on nurture as well, doesn't it? Your
Back in-
environment,
Back
whether you're
in my
religious,
day,
whether
back
you're
in
not
my day,
religious.
Abraham. You're younger, innit? Back in my day, things were different.
Back in the good old days.
Yeah. Back in like
Wish we could turn back
2009 and all that.
Born 2002.
Anyway.
I watched. Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Well, we've reached our time, by the way.
yeah. I think we're rambling too much now.
All
What I
right,
was gonna say.
I'll ask you lot at the end of this. Have your opinion? Oh, wait, actually, you go first. You go first. You go first.
Yeah.
You got this.
What I was gonna say is that teaching about different groups of people, normalizing it, is very important. If people want to eradicate discrimination, you've got to normalize something. You have to. And the only way to normalize it
Agreed.
is to expose the newer generations to it as if it's normal. Okay? Just like how if segregation continued, being black would have been considered the non-normal way, right?
Right.
But now that everyone is exposed to different races at a very young age, it's normal now. It's normal. These groups are just as human as you are, right?
Yeah, but it's different though, because
It's
like if you're exposed to black people, that doesn't turn you into a black person. Like it's different. If you're exposed to trans people, then
some people. Some
there's
people
an idea that you might be trans yourself.
Some people identify with different races.
Yeah, but that's just like
Well,
stupid.
alien.
Yeah, there's
No,
people who are
see,
like, oh, I'm transracial.
The hell is that?
It's a stupid thing that exists because the LGBT has no rules and you can do whatever you want
It's
whenever
already
you want.
complicated.
That's not really.
that's
It's already complicated enough. Isn't it?
It doesn't exist. It's actually not a thing. I mean, it exists, but it shouldn't exist.
what I'm
All
saying.
right.
No,
Yeah.
it shouldn't exist.
Yeah, I don't think it's really difficult, man. It's really hard.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah.
We're in a renaissance period right now. We don't know what we want anymore. At the beginning of this, you guys weren't sure. So has your opinion at all changed about trans since the beginning? Both of you?
I don't know. Man.
A little
No, it
bit.
hasn't.
A
You're still
little
just as
bit.
confused.
A little bit.
The only thing that I've learned is that Sauna really dislikes pro-life people.
No. I just think they haven't evaluated. I just don't think they've evaluated their
I can't wait to get
properly.
absolutely demolished next week. No, not next
I
week.
bet
but
Anil's
after a
pro-life
while.
as well. Anil's definitely pro-life.
Yeah, but I know like stoning gay people, so.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
All right. Well, I hope everything got captured and Craig's little conundrum at the beginning didn't affect it.
Yeah.
But if everything got recorded, any final words, lads? Anything you want to say?
Transgenderism is.
Homosexuals are gay.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Transgenderism is not. It's not bad. There you go.
It's okay to
That's
be
not
gay.
good
Let's
either.
rejoice with the. Well, I've forgotten what the song is.
Anyway, yeah. Let's
Wait,
finish
the
now
song?
because I gotta get to
Wait,
work.
My final word is: you can be whatever you want, identify as whatever you want. My opinion hasn't changed. Identify as whatever you want, but don't hold others to your standards. That's what I believe.
Ibrahim standards are
Alright.
stupid. Just remember that.
Whoa. I guess we'll settle this next time when we talk about pro-life versus pro-choice.
All right. Whatever.
Alright, cool.
No, wait, anti-life.
Let's just end it.
Anti-life, yeah,
Let's end
anti-life.
it. I need to work.
Alright, thanks, Soda, thanks, Salad, for coming.
All right.
Let
Thanks.
me enter the command.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
You've been watching Infallible. We'll see you next week. We'll not see you next week. We'll see you later on. Bye for now.
You never.
Bye.
Hi there, it's Future Ibrahim, and I thought I'd interrupt the podcast real quick just to give you my take on LGBT one more time, just to summarize everything really fast, because it can be a bit confusing to tell what I said and what I didn't said, because we go back and forth a lot. So just to clarify, I'm on the team of I agree with lesbian and gay, but I disagree with transgender and any sort of sexual section of LGBTQ, regardless of what it is. I believe that there's two genders, male and female, and I believe you have three options, male, female, and I don't know. That's the most I'm willing to concede. Any other gender is stupid, I believe. I think that in terms of in terms of like when you should be teaching these things, I believe that you should be teaching lesbian and gays. You can make children aware of it at younger ages, but not transgender. You should only start talking about that at puberty, which for the reason I gave in the podcast already, I'm not going to repeat myself again just because, there's no point. You can just see it from there. On top of that, I think I'll just clarify what the big difference is between the two. The reason that I have this change, the reason I say that is because transgender is a source of mental health condition, like, depending on which book you use, ICD, DSM, gender dysmorphia or gender identity disorder, whichever one you like to call it. It's a mental condition and it's one you'd be better off without. Whereas with lesbian and gay, it's relationships, it's love. That's something that you don't you can't really have control over it. I'm a very firm believer that you don't control these things. You also don't control what your preferences are. You don't control what your likes and dislikes are. Because if you could control that, you could just choose to like everything. And obviously, that's not the case. So I think that's out of your control. Whereas transgenderism is in your control. You can easily go to therapy. You can easily learn to love yourself and the body that you have, and people do that. So I think they're very different in that regard, and that explains a lot of like where you should teach them and where you should not teach them, and the differences in that. So I thought I'd just clarify that. That's where I stand on this.